Hey, so I've been wanting to make this video for a little bit, but just with life, have been just pushing it off a little bit. Don't mind that I am just in a sports bra and I look like this because it's just one of those days. I am super hot, I'm home, so it really doesn't matter, and I'm almost in my third trimester. So that is why we're looking rough. But yeah, so I just wanted to say, you know, that this is what is working for us right now. We are a family of 4, soon to be 5, you know, at the end of September. But with that being said, the baby is not going to significantly, you know, change our budget anytime soon. I mean, she's going to be an infant, then a little baby, and, you know, she won't be eating a lot whenever she does start solids, which won't be for a while. And then, even then, when she does start eating some, it's not going to be a ridiculous amount to drastically change our food budget. So whenever that time comes, probably a while from now, then I can change it. But by then, certain things will be paid off. I can make adjustments where I need to. But again, this is what works for us. And I know there are things that I did last year that I'm not doing now. Like we're saving money aside. If you hear stuff, the girls are running around right now. But I was setting money aside for like a baby fund and stuff for our dogs, for like their vet bills, for like yearly shots. I'm not doing either of those now. And yes, I do know how much like the dogs would cost for their yearly shots, so that is not like a shocker thing. I'm not doing a yearly fund for like stuff, you know, like our annual stuff for like our HOA or Sam's Club membership, stuff like that. I'm not doing a category for that right now. And the baby, we stopped that fund last year before we actually decided to have a third, but that's fine because I know, alright, just flushed the toilet. I know babies can be expensive depending on things you buy, of course, but we've been given a lot. We've been blessed with friends that have given us a lot of stuff because we had given away like all of our infant stuff, basically. And then the majority of the time, minus like when we're out and about, newborn diapers, and then I'll use some size one at night, and then whatever size even she gets into. But minus that, or set aside from that, I will cloth diaper the rest of the time. So that does save. It's gross, but it saves. Well, the gross part is like the poop part, but that's a whole different video in itself. So with that being said, this is what works for us. And yes, we do have stuff on the Capital One, which we didn't. It was paid off. I didn't go too much into it, but I will say, like, we have bought big ticket items for like Father's Day, retirement, birthday gift, like combined into one. And we bought the majority of it, and family members are paying us back. Same with like hotel reservations, and we've done reservations for hotels for like weddings later on this year. And then we bought French doors for baby girl's room. So just things like that that we kind of had to do. But I mean, again, it's our family, our life, so I'm not going to get into a big discussion about that. But overall, we try and do the Dave Ramsey style for cash envelope, which I do show again. And then by this time next year, if not sooner, of course, once tax season comes around, we will have Eric's truck paid off. The Capital One card will be paid off. And then we can set aside money for different things. So things like that, it'll all work out. But yeah, so I'm just kind of rambling on now. So let's just get into the video. Sorry, I am on my bed. But first of all, how I do our bills and how I keep track of what needs to be paid for each month. All right, so we'll just go for the month of July. We just got paid today, so I went ahead and I deducted everything in my checkbook, because I do use a checkbook recorder or balancer or whatever you want to call it. I've done that since I was 16. So anyway, in my planner, it's not focusing, but I have all of our bills are in red, and it's broken into per paycheck. So for the 1st through the 15th, whatever is on there is our first paycheck, and then the rest is obviously going to be on our second paycheck. But so we have our car payment for our first paycheck. We have our car payment, our car insurance, Verizon, Capital One, because unfortunately we have put stuff on a credit card again, which it was paid off, but it will be paid off within this less than a year. I know, as our goal by the beginning of the year. Anyway, so we have Capital One, life insurance for myself and the girls. Eric has his own that's already deducted out of his paycheck, and then our mortgage. And then our second paycheck is a JEA, which is our water, electric, and sewer all combined into one. Verizon, our car payment, Hulu and Netflix, Eric's CrossFit gym membership, our car insurance, Capital One again, because I try and pay it twice a month, whenever we do have a balance on it, Comcast for our internet, and then Eric's truck payment. And so the things that come out twice will be Verizon, because I have those bills per paycheck, as well as our car payment and car insurance. And I think those are the only three things that come out twice. But then whenever I do pay it, it won't focus, but there is a check mark by it, so I know it's paid. So that's how I do that, just to stay on track. And then let's see. So so I did not put the total, average amount that we got paid whenever I was doing this, but I know what it is. So, anyway, this is for our first paycheck, our rough estimate on bills. Like, certain things I know are always the same, like car insurance. It just rounds up like the dollars, or the cents, I mean. So I just round it up. But everything else, like gas, is an estimate to try and just keep under a certain amount, and things like that. All right, so for our first paycheck, we do tithe. So I do $200 per paycheck. We have a car payment, gas. Again, I'm just estimating to try not spend ridiculous amounts of gas, which it does help right now since Ari is out of school. I'm not driving back and forth a couple times a day, even though she was like 7 minutes away. But yeah, so that does help. Car insurance, Verizon, life insurance, ATM is for all of our stuff I'll get into over here in a minute. But for our cash envelope system, our mortgage, Capital One, iTunes, actually Eric is, I can delete that one. I'll delete that after this. But he canceled that for, it was like music or something, I don't know. It was $3.99 per month, but it shouldn't be coming out anymore, so $4 will be saved. And then trying to put, depending on the paycheck, at least $20 into savings. Right now I know that's not a lot, but again, with Capital One, that's a priority to pay it off and still be able to put something in savings. And then by next tax season, or whatever you want to call it, tax time, we will be able to pay off Eric's truck payment. So that will save up a lot of money, and then I can redo this all again. But yeah, that was just a random tidbit. But that is what our first paycheck is for. And then this is the money for our first paycheck that I pull out of the ATM for our cash envelope system. And so these are the categories I have budgeted for. And so I do entertainment, which is $80, miscellaneous for like household items, like paper towels, toilet paper, body wash, things like that, is $60. Christmas, trying to set aside $20 each paycheck. Clothing, $20. Gifts for like birthdays, anniversaries, things like that, $20. The girls, I pull out $40 and $20 for each of them for their savings account. And I do want to say real quick that the funds for the girls' savings are going to go towards stuff for like, school activities or like field trips or whatever, or any extracurricular activities that we're going to do with them. Like, they're not anything right now, but we would eventually like to put Ari in soccer or something that interests her, or gymnastics or tumbling class or something like that. So that is what those, or that is for, is to save up for stuff like that. Excuse me. So that is kind of like a little breakdown of why we have a savings account for the girls, and specifically kind of more of what we are going to use for them, or for them. In a separate bank account, I have an emergency fund, so $20 for that to build that up. And then Eric, he calls it his allowance, but call it whatever you want. But $20 for him to just have cash. Ooh, there we go. Have cash on him. So that is what we do for the first paycheck. And then let me scroll down. All right, so for the second paycheck, we do tithe again, JEA, which is about an average, depending on the heat and humidity and everything, because it is Florida. It was a little bit higher this past time. I haven't updated it, but on average, it's about 180. So, yeah, but it's been super, super hot this summer, so it sucks. But again, $80 for gas, Verizon, Capital One, another car payment, Hulu and Netflix, Eric's CrossFit, car insurance, ATM, which is a higher amount, and I'll get into that in a minute. His truck payment, Comcast, and then savings again. And then over here for the ATM, for the cash envelopes, it's the same for all the things above, but the only thing different is groceries. So I'll pull out our entire monthly grocery allowance, or budget. I'm sorry, it's really a budget. During this paycheck, it's a little bit more doable and flexible with it. So for that, I've gone into more detail whenever I do my grocery hauls, but we do budget $300 for the month whenever I do a huge grocery monthly haul. I cannot talk today. And then the last 100 is for $25 per week for fresh produce and milk and things like that. So that is basically our bills and the breakdown of that and how we are doing it now. And then once you go up here, the only thing that I have added in this time is our payoff, which this I just updated today. So we need to pay off Capital One, and then his truck payoff, and then my car payoff. And then our balance for those totals. And then over here, if it would focus. But anyway, I'm trying to set aside special savings. As like, these are our goals, are to pay those off. This is like separate, but things we would like to do eventually, minus the pictures, those are actually happening in July. So July, September timeframe. So the cruise, eventually we would like to save up about $1,200 so Eric and I can take a cruise together because we have never gone on a cruise together. So we want to do that for a vacation 1 year, which would be nice. Probably another year at least from now, you know, so baby girl is about a year old and someone can watch all 3 girls. So, and a Disney Pass is for Disney annual pass holders, which probably won't happen for a little bit. We have an ITT place on base that we can get good deals with and what we have been using. So that's what we have for this year. And that is if we want to get a Disney annual pass. So that, I actually had all this stuff over here and then I deleted it and then I thought to put it over here. So I think that was around the price. I could be totally wrong. I'd have to kind of look it up again. But on average, I'm going to say that's for like no, that's going to be like for 2 adults, Aria, because Karina would still be free if we do it in the next like year or so. And then I think that's like no matter what, you can go to like any water parks, like Park Hop, that type of thing. I just chose, I think, I could be totally wrong. Pretty sure I just chose like the most expensive one to kind of do an over budget for it. So whenever the time comes, I'll look a little bit closer at it. But that's what that is. And then for pictures, we only have 185 left to save up for, or set aside, I guess, in an account to pay for our maternity pictures, which are happening in mid-July, and then our newborn pictures. So I've already paid 50% of it for down payment for both sessions, and then I've already got a little bit set aside in another account, but that by the time I need to pay for it, that should be the last bit I need to save up for. So that's what those prices are for. But yeah, that is what we have for our budget. I can show you again. I think I'm pretty sure I showed it last year. My wallet for our cash envelope system, which has helped us stay on track a lot, minus the credit card, but that was for certain things, like huge gifts, and we were paying for stuff, and people are paying us back, like family members, for like gifts that we did for some, you know, for Eric's dad. Anyway, let me show you our cash envelope system. Right. This is the wallet I got, and I will link it down below again. I know I did it in, I remember now, I did it in our last video that I did on this. So I had just gotten it, I think, pretty recently then. So I'll link it, but I got it on Amazon. It's a Bella Taylor, I don't know. They had a couple of different designs, so depending on the design, depends on the price. But I think when I got mine last year, it was maybe about $35 for this design at that time. But anyway, so in here, behind my receipt is where you can put like cards. So I have our bank card, our Sam's Club card, stuff like that. Here, and then down, I'm just covering up, I have my military ID and then my driver's license. So just for privacy, I'm going to cover those up. And then a receipt I have to deduct from the checkbook. And then once you unzip it, there are so many different pockets in here, which is nice. And that is the main reason I got it, because I used to use separate envelopes. And then they would get like, it just got messy in my purse and crazy trying to find the correct one. So I looked on Amazon one day and saw this and immediately bought it. So, and here is just like little cards. That's money I have to put into our, like the girls' savings account and stuff like that. But then these are like little gift cards and stuff like a Lowe's card. Just random little things like that. And then in here, I have a thing for groceries, for entertainment, for everything that I get out of the ATM. So the miscellaneous, holiday, gifts, everything like that that I would pull out from the ATM, that is what would go into here, and I just haven't really separated everything into it yet. And then back here is where I keep coupons and then my coins. But like I said, this is what has kept me on track, and especially with groceries. It has been a lifesaver, just keeping everything in one thing, but seeing how much money we have left to spend does truly help. So yeah, that is our updated budget, and I guess a cash envelope system, how I do it. I guess if you have any questions, you can ask below. I think I covered everything that I can think of right now. I mean, I do have pregnancy brain, so I'm pretty sure this is everything that I can think of. And again, our budget won't change, even probably in the next year again. Even when Eric was gone, it was the same. So, like for his deployment. But right now, this is what works for us. I do look at it all the time and kind of try and tweak it to what situation we are in at that moment, or what we need to pay off, things like that. So overall, this is pretty much how we do it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I guess I will see you guys in my next one.